Hey, good morning, Internet fans. It is Ryan Perry with Simple Biz Support. Boy, forgetting my own business name this morning. It is Wednesday, so it's Social Media Wednesday, and as always, I have the wonderful and talented Sarah Giametti with ICT Marketing. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. You had a great day yesterday. We're going to take a little sidetrack on today's meeting because you had a unique opportunity, and I understand it's the first time Facebook has ever done this, but you actually got to go to their campus and go to an event called Facebook Fit yesterday.
I did, and it was a blast. I had a fabulous time down in Menlo Park.
I could only imagine, especially being a social media guru, being able to actually walk on the campus and learn directly from some of the people there. That's got to be pretty impressive. Now, you said Cheryl was one of the keynote speakers?
She wasn't labeled to be one, but she did a surprise appearance and did speak at the beginning, right before the keynote speaker.
Okay, very cool. And Sheryl Sandberg, I'm not sure at what level she's at Facebook, but I understand she's up off my monitor as far as up there.
Yes, she is one of the leaders at Facebook, pretty high up there. So definitely one that was great to see her speak in person.
All right, very cool. And so what was the concept behind Facebook Fit? What were they trying to get across to help promote, educate?
It was primarily directed at small business owners. They did a tour of about 5 cities throughout the United States, and the one at their own headquarters was the final one. And it was really focused on helping small businesses grow and increase their sales by using Facebook.
Right. Now, you had mentioned they actually did a breakout session, and they had some business owners that had success and were sharing their success online. And one of the gals has already spent $1 million year to date just on Facebook advertising.
That is correct. She owns an educational kids company with another mom. They're both moms, and they developed this whole theme behind a young boy and girl cartoon characters that are traveling the world and having different experiences. And each month they mail to families that have signed up for their services. They mail products that go along with those experiences to teach children about places around the world. And Facebook is her biggest way to build her business. And to date, it's only August 5th or 6th, and to date she's already spent $1 million this year alone.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. I know I've spent some money on Facebook this year, but I know it hasn't been close to $1 million. But I guess it's a goal and aspiration to shoot for, because obviously if she's spending $1 million, she's making enough in return to justify that expense. Did they go into any details or tips, tricks? Why were they successful when other people haven't been?
One of their biggest things was, and something that we always tell our clients and prospective clients, that it really comes down to quality content and being authentic. That when you are posting on Facebook and building your following, and yes, they all did use ads to build their likes, because you do need to find an audience, and that's what's the beauty of Facebook advertising is you can do really laser specific targeting to find your perfect audience, but then your content has to be authentic and interesting and engaging. And part of the authentic is telling them about you, about the people in your company, so that they get to know. It's just like having real life relationships where you get to be friends with people because you see them and hang out with them. This is the same way. You want them to know you and to like you and be interested, but the content really has to be worthwhile and worth their time, because everybody's really busy.
Right, and with as popular as Facebook is, there's plenty of business owners spending money out there, maybe not always correctly on advertising, and therefore we get bombarded with a lot of junk mail, if you will, and therefore your message has to be that much more impressive in order to get through. And I think the key thing that you talked about, and from a marketing point of view, it's something that we always focus on, but I don't think small business owners really focus on that much, is really understanding your audience and really being able to pull yourself outside of the business mind. When I know for myself, I cannot market my own business because I'm in my business too much. And to think of it outside of the walls that I work in, I have a very hard time in going, okay, well, what's relatable for somebody who doesn't know anything about internet marketing, about building a website or doing SEO strategies. And therefore, I have to bring somebody in to do that marketing because they give me that outside reference that says, no, Ryan, you understand that because you're in the business, but somebody who's never dealt with these terminology or this type of thinking isn't going to understand. So for small business owners, I think it's really important that you step outside, find a friend, find somebody who's a professional at doing marketing, but bounce ideas off them and see what sticks and what connects. And I think the other cool thing about Facebook advertising is that, you know, if you can have a budget of $5 a day, you can do a lot of testing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things a lot of them said they've done was you have to watch what you're doing. So yes, think outside the box, outside your world, and see what would be interesting to your target market. But then on top of that, you have to look and see how it works. Facebook gives you insights on every single post you do, on all the ads that you do, that you can watch and see time of day. You know, I've got a client that I was just looking at her time of day because she wasn't getting the interaction I quite wanted, and I adjusted what time we were posting stuff to when her audience tends to be on Facebook, and her engagement has increased incredibly. So it's paying attention to the details of, you know, who your target market is, when they're actually on Facebook and posting around that, and having content, you know, and testing your content even organically to see, you know, post A didn't perform really well, but post B did. What was the difference between those? Were they nearly identical content and it was time of day and day of the week? Or was the content, you know, a link didn't perform really well, but a picture did amazing things, and maybe you want to put more pictures out there. So it's paying attention to what you're putting out and doing. That's a great way to test too, is just put it out there if you think it'll work and see if it does or doesn't. And same with the advertising, is it's all live. And so you can start with, say, 10 ads with 10 different criteria, see what performs, and start shutting down the ones that don't perform and move the money into the ones that do perform, so you can really make sure you're getting the right audience. And that is the beauty of online, is that everything is real time. So you can massage it as you want. And yeah, for $5 a day, you can get a lot of traction on Facebook. You can grow your likes, you can get a lot of traffic, and doing different types of ads, like sending it to your website and then tracking somebody who, you know, came from a Facebook ad to your website to look at a product, and if they didn't buy it and they come back to Facebook, you can track them and target them to try and bring them back into the sale. So there's a lot of really cool things you can do with Facebook advertising, but it is paying attention to your insights, paying attention to the results of the ads and what's performing. And, you know, if you're having problems figuring out what content to put out there, ask your existing customers. What do you want to see? What do you want to hear about? They already like you. They already chose to follow you. Hopefully they'll be nice enough to give you the input that will help direct you in creating that original, authentic content that will engage them more, which will also engage your future audience that you're growing.
All right. Yeah. And, you know, one of the things that I never really thought about until just now, and just hearing you talk about the fact of tracking things, monitoring, is that marketing, typically a marketing is one side of the brain, being creative, trying to figure out what it is that people are going to like, and then the actual tracking, the analytics, the follow-up is the other side of the brain. And I know as business owners, typically, or as human beings, we typically only have one side or the other. So as a small business owner, you know, if you're more of the creative side, make sure you have somebody in your business who enjoys crunchy numbers, who enjoys working on spreadsheets, and give them a challenge to actually track your information, because you can get all that information out of Facebook. Or the next step up would be pay somebody like ICT marketing to actually do that, because you have different people in your organization that specialize in the actual management of the ad versus the creation of the ad and making those decisions. And it's really, really important, because if you can figure this out, and like you said, if let's say you run 4 different ads, or even just 2 ads at $5 a pop a day, and you can find out which one's working more consistently. Instead of spending $5 over here in an ad that's not performing at all, imagine what would happen to your business if you rolled that money over here into that $5 ad, and now you doubled it to 10, what that would do for your business. And if you're making revenue off of that $10, then you can bump it up to $20, and then $50, $100, and ultimately you could feasibly be one of these businesses that's spending over $1 million a year on revenue, because you know that it's paying off for you. You know what that funnel is, and you know what the ROI is on it.
Absolutely. I guarantee you that that company did not start with spending $1 million a year on Facebook advertising. They started small. They probably started with $25, $50 a month to build their following, and while they were building their business and their following and figuring out what their content was going to be, and you just increase it as it goes along. As you're making money off of it, then you increase your advertising so that you make more money. I mean, it's just the way the marketing works. The beauty of Facebook is it's extremely inexpensive. We boost posts on a regular basis, which is a slightly different form of the advertising, and we go from having 1 to 10% of our followers seeing it to 200%, which is more than what we actually have following our page sees this boosted posts for $5. So you said you now have exposure for $5, depending on who your target market is. You can go anywhere from 500 to several thousand for just $5 to see your content. And so there's a lot of tips and tricks that you can do to get better exposure on Facebook, and you start little and you just incrementally increase it as your business grows, as your revenue grows, but you just keep posting on a regular basis. Quality is really important to have quality original authentic content, but you still need quantity too. The more you post, the more chances of exposure you have, the more engagement you're going to have. Posting once a week, it no longer works. It just doesn't. You can't do it anymore. You're just going to not show up in people's Facebook or in their news feeds.
All right, perfect. So speaking of tips and tricks, since you were there for about half a day, did you have like a big aha moment or a takeaway that you can share with people?
The one that for me was remembering, it clicked for me for a client that I've got that I'm about to start some advertising campaigns with in order to sell a new training program that they have. It reminded me the tracking. How often have you gone to shopping online and then on Facebook you see ads for that exact product? They reminded me about that and how to do it. It's not done through cookies. It's done through what they call a pixel you put on your website. And that was a huge one. So if you have if you have an e-commerce store and you have physical products, that's one that you really want to look at, is driving conversions. And Facebook can track that. You run the ad to create conversions. You put a tracking pixel on your website on that product or multiple products. And when the people come back to Facebook, Facebook can track when they left the ad, they went to your website, what they did on your website, and when they came back. So it gives you a lot of valuable data so that you can target you can kind of narrow down your target more and more. And so for me personally, because it was an aha for me, because it's something I'm dealing with right now with a brand new client we're just starting up. But I think for a lot of clients who are trying to figure out, you've seen those ads and you were asking yourself, how do they do that? How are those companies tracking me on Facebook? Well, that's how it's through the ad campaign, and that's something that we can definitely help you with. But it should be pretty straightforward to set it up, but you definitely would want to look at the conversion tracking ad platform for your sales of your e-commerce site.
Okay, so and we're running out of time here, but I just want to clarify. So let's say I've got an e-commerce site. I've got 1,000 products on my site. Somebody clicks on one of my Facebook ads because they see something, and let's say they look at 3 different products while they're on my site. What you're saying is that when they go back into Facebook, the 3 items that they looked at are the ones that are going to show up as ads now, and not the other 997 products I have.
If you set it up correctly, yes. And so you have to make sure you've got the tracking pixels on each one, and so it just makes sure. So something, if you've got 1,000 products, it'll be a little bit of a daunting to get it set up, a daunting process, but But yeah, pretty much you can, when the people come back to Facebook, they'll see ads for that as long as your ad campaign is still running.
All right, very cool. Well, Sarah, I appreciate you sharing your information of your trip down to Facebook. And I know you had a great time, so thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Ryan. I did have a great time. Glad I was able to share a little bit about what I learned down there.
Definitely, definitely. And next week we'll get back on track with talking about a hot tip and making sure that you as a business owner have something to take away from this conversation. As always, Sarah, I very much appreciate your time and hope you have a great week.
Thanks, Ryan. Hope you have a great week too.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.